I love mountain biking. Growing up, I have always been a cyclist. I bike with my dad, and that's really how I got into biking in general, was taking weekend bike rides with my dad. Absolutely love it. Now, my dad, when he was 24 years old, he actually biked the entire west coast of the United States. Pretty cool, if you ask me. Now, do I prefer mountain biking or road biking? Well, I personally prefer mountain biking. And today I'm gonna tell you how I got into mountain biking and the three main things you need to be aware of if you have asthma like me and you're mountain biking. But first, I have a free gift for you. And I created this based on my own experience, okay? Back in December 2022, I weighed 191 pounds. Nothing wrong with that. That honestly isn't that heavy of a weight. But when you're 5'9" and you're trying to run a 50 miler in less than 12 hours, you know, I needed to lose the weight. And the reality is, once I started really going into it, I was definitely overweight, like 100%. And my ideal weight is 165 pounds. That's what I weigh right now. So what I did is I actually created a free guide that I have linked below for you to download. It is my gift to you, to other athletes with asthma, to other athletes in general. But if you have asthma, this guide specifically goes through how I was able to lose 25 pounds. And I did that by following the 3 pillars that I go over in the guide. Very practical pillars, so definitely go grab that guide below. All right, so mountain biking and asthma. I love mountain biking because I love being in the outdoors, you know? I love being by myself. I love going through the trees. I love the fresh air, which is really a really good thing for asthma. Now, I got into mountain biking because one of my really good friends, this is probably about 5 years ago now, just asked me, he's like, hey, have you ever mountain biked before? And I'm like, no, I haven't, but I'm open to it. So I actually got on this old bike, this cross training bike that I got when I was 13. and I took it down a blue-green trail. I was terrified, but I had so much fun, especially on the uphills. And that really brings me to the first point. When you're mountain biking, if you have asthma or not, there is a big difference between uphill versus downhill. First of all, there are actually different types of mountain biking. There are actually people that go and all they do is downhill riding. Well, downhill riding, from a perspective of asthma, you're not gonna really have as much trouble because you're going downhill with gravity. Now, the other side of that is it can be extremely dangerous doing downhill riding, especially if you don't know how to do it very well. So you always wanna, wear a helmet. And specifically with downhill, you see a lot of people wear like a full-on motorcycle helmet, face mask, everything. But uphill versus downhill. I bring this up because the hardest part about mountain biking, so I'm a runner as well. When I'm going up a trail and I'm on my mountain bike, it is exponentially more difficult to climb that trail on my mountain bike than if I'm running it or hiking it. And it's because you're not only moving your body weight, you have a bike that is added weight that is taking you up this hill. Now, I absolutely love going uphill. But when you're going uphill, especially when you first get into mountain biking, or you may even experience this mountain biking for years. If I haven't mountain biked for a while and I jump on the bike, even if I have the cardio, my leg muscles are ready, you can really struggle breathing when you're going uphill. So you have to be really mindful of that. If you have asthma, you have to be mindful of that in general, but if you have asthma, don't be surprised if you feel it when you're going uphill. When you're going downhill, on the other hand, you may not feel it as much unless you're terrified, okay? So you gotta be careful that you're not having a panic attack or anxiety. That's why I don't really do downhill riding, because it stresses me out. Uphill riding, I love. And obviously if I go uphill, I'm also gonna have to go downhill, but I take it really slow. I love riding uphill, but I always make sure that I have some stuff with me. So number 2, you gotta have your supplies. And when I mean supplies, I'm talking about your inhaler. Gotta make sure you have water with you. I bring a 3-liter Camelback with me whenever I'm riding. At the very least a 1.5 liter, but usually a 3-liter. And then you need to have some sort of snacks with you. So snacks, or I personally bring gels. Okay, you want to make sure you have all this because you want to make sure you're prepared. Now you could be doing a really easy, not uphill, not downhill, a flat mountain bike ride, just going on dirt trails or gravel roads, whatever. And you may be like, oh, I don't need my inhaler with me. I don't need water, I don't need snacks. You want to make sure that you are prepared. Now remember, I'm not a medical professional. I am just an athlete with asthma. And everything I teach is from my own experience. So remember, check out that disclaimer below the video. I also have it right here. You always need to check with your medical provider, your medical doctor before doing any of this, okay? But you gotta make sure you have supplies. Number 3, you need to either have a buddy or let people know where you're gonna be. Now this is probably good advice for mountain bikers out there, even if you don't have asthma. You need to have a buddy and or let people know where you're gonna be. Because even though you may not have asthma, you could still have an accident. And you don't want to have an accident and then no one be around to help you. Especially, and depending on where you go, there may not be that many riders. That's a great benefit of mountain biking, is you don't have all these people zooming by on the sidewalk and all this stuff. You're in single track, which means that you literally have to get on the side to have someone pass you. Sometimes you're on double track so that you don't have to, do that. But you're in the middle of nowhere a lot of times, which is the best part about this. But you need to either have someone go with you, which is ideal, or you need to tell people where you are. I actually have my significant other follow my GPS coordinates so that she always knows where I am when I'm mountain biking, when I'm hiking, when I'm running. And I do my best to do these activities with someone. Do I do it all the time? Maybe half the time. Specifically with mountain biking. I like running by myself / running with our dog. But have a buddy, let people know where you are. Because if you have an asthma attack and you're mountain biking and you're by yourself, hopefully you at least brought that inhaler with you and you have water and you have snacks so you can deal with it. But you may need help depending on how severe it is. Remember to consult your medical professional when integrating any of this into your routine. Now this last one's a bonus. Sadly, this is something that's needed depending on where you are in the US or in the world, wherever you are. Just make sure, especially if you're in Colorado, if you are in the front range of Colorado and you're mountain biking, get a snake bite kit, man. We need a snake bite kit, which sucks. But I see these guys, these rattlesnakes, far too often between April and September. Depends really on the weather pattern. So you gotta be careful. I always bike with a snake bite kit. Now there are other things you can do as well. And obviously this isn't like, hey, if you have asthma, you need a snake bite kit. Hey, if you don't have asthma, don't get a snake bite kit. Get a frickin' snake bite kit. These things are crazy. And yet again, if you don't go with a buddy, and all of a sudden you get bit by a rattlesnake, you gotta be careful. And by the way, talk to your medical professional about what you should do if you ever get bit by a rattlesnake. What I've been advised to do is to slow down my breathing, slow down my heart rate. And this can be hard when you have asthma because you might be freaking out. You got to slow it down because you don't want the poison to go to the rest of your body really quickly, okay? And then the snake bite kit, I've been told by some people that's not very useful. Others have said, oh, it's very useful, so very mixed opinions there. The reality is you got to get to a hospital as quickly as possible. Yet again, that's why you want a buddy. That's why you want people to know where you are, because if you don't have a buddy, you can make a call, and whoever knows where you are can find you fast enough. Or you call 911, you can hopefully give them your coordinates in some way and they can find you, but you got to be really careful. So for all the mountain bikers out there, other athletes, if you have asthma, if you don't have asthma, I have a free gift for you, linked right below this video, is my guide, my free guide to teach you how I was able to lose 2 pounds a week, even with having asthma, by just following 3 simple practical pillars that you can literally start integrating into your life today. So go check out that free guide and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for the likes and subscribes.